Hello, and welcome to Anime Audio Commentary. Today I'll be commenting on Episode 4 of Code Geass. If you'd like to watch along, then start watching now. So last we left off, Suzaku's being framed for the murder of Clovis. But, more importantly than that, those were indeed Pizza Hut boxes that Nunnally was carrying on her lap. I'm just utterly baffled by it. Like, surely they had to have gotten permission to do something like this. Man. I mean, I guess I hope Lelouch manages to fix everything, but I'm still baffled by Pizza Hut. Alright, so I guess we're getting right into this interrogation, you know. It's possible that maybe that was Suzaku's gun. Because he was sort of like shot and indisposed. Okay, you know, I take that back. I was wondering if maybe, Lelouch had in some way been responsible for the predicament Suzaku finds himself in. But I guess the issue here is that they don't like him because he's an honorary Britannian. You know. I mean, that just kind of cinches it. They say, you know, you'll be judged as an honorary Britannian if you confess now. Otherwise, you'll be judged as an 11, which, you know, no doubt indicates that the trial's not going to be fair. And you know, I do feel bad for Nunnally, the poor girl, because she's clearly been through a lot, and the idea that a childhood friend might be responsible for a heinous crime, and even if he wasn't, that he would be railroaded like this, that's bad. You know, it's nice that Lelouch is comforting her, and I guess doubly so considering that he might be able to do something about it. So it's unfortunate that this really seems to be echoing all around the world. Or not around the world, but around, you know, the various spheres in Area 11. You know, the other rebels are none too happy about this. The aristocracy are definitely none too happy about this, and, I mean, this obviously presents a predicament for Lelouch. And I guess, you know, back to that wacky scientist character, I guess this sort of ruins his whole thing too, you know, if he doesn't have a pilot for the Lancelot, then what good is it, really? And I guess, interestingly enough, Suzaku was a remarkably efficient pilot, despite it being his first time piloting something like that, so you know, his loss as a component in the Lancelot is sorely felt. Yeah, so it seems like the idea is that Margrave guy, he wants to use this as a pretense to get rid of the concept of honorary Britannians. Because, there's obviously going to be some animosity, and rather than try and bridge the gap, he just wants to burn the whole thing down. So I guess it's rather telling that even in, the R&D division, as it were, they're under no illusion that any of this is a legitimate trial or legitimate proceedings. Wow. That's something to see, basically the wreck of the Tokyo Tower. So, something's going on. All these various rebels, they're sort of gathering here. They all kind of have the same general idea that they need to meet up at the Tokyo Tower at a certain time. No doubt this is Lelouch's doing, but I mean, at this point we don't know what he's planning. Surely this has to be, in some way, shape, or form, a plan to help Suzaku, but I mean, short of, staging another attack, I don't know what he could possibly do. Because, how could he hypnotize someone with sufficient authority to let Suzaku go without also getting caught? Ooh. Okay. So, Margrave here, he's sort of insinuating that maybe somebody else knows a little bit more about the death of Clovis than they let on. I guess that's as clear an indication as anything else that he knows Suzaku's innocent but doesn't care. I mean, sure, maybe he was just teasing this guy by insinuating that, boy, you sure acted quickly. Are you sure you didn't have advanced knowledge? He might just be pulling the guy's leg, but I feel like it's pretty tactless to joke about something like that so quickly. Alright. So things are shaping up. Margrave has intelligence that people will likely try and rescue Suzaku, so naturally he's going to have an escort of Sutherlands. So I guess if Lelouch were to sort of lead a raid, they would have to, I guess, bypass a sizable escort. He could do it, seeing as how, we've seen him do more in the second episode, but with the notable addition of another condition for victory. Because I would assume if pushed to it, the Britannians would rather just kill Suzaku than let him go free. Yeah, things are shaping up nicely. Oh my god, there's a Pizza Hut advertisement in the background. Oh, it never ends. I'm gonna have to look into this in, my free time. Why is Pizza Hut everywhere in Code Geass? Because, normally in anime, they do, this funny thing where it's, totally not McDonald's, WickDonald's, something like that. But, for them to have the actual thing and something like Pizza Hut, which, in my mind is kind of, lower tier in terms of recognizability, it's just so baffling to me. So Lelouch, I guess he's decided to take on this sort of persona of, a shadowy mastermind, Oh, that's interesting. To sort of, inform them that their approach to things isn't optimal. You know, sure, terrorism might have its purpose, but you're basically just harassing civilians. Your enemy is the Empire. And he is true in that regard. Or he is correct, rather, I should say. Okay, so this is one of those things, you know. He's obviously going to be very secretive about showing off his face, to the point where I feel like there almost has to be a bluff at some point where somebody else wears the suit to get caught. Oh, that's interesting. For Suzaku to be related to the last Prime Minister. So that's something for him to be sort of involved in both Japan as it used to be and the Britannian military now. You know, I guess that's kind of why they probably had to offer him honorary Britannian status. Man. I think it speaks a lot to Suzaku that he's so willing to engage in this trial even though it likely won't be fair. And that his main concern were that basically two specific people weren't on the casualty lists. Those two people I assume being Lelouch and Lelouch's friend. Man. You know, Suzaku really doesn't deserve any of this stuff. I hope this doesn't become a pattern that he gets, you know, dragged through the mud and put through the ringer. Alright, so I feel like, you know, they would have to televise something like this. It would be major news, but at the same time, it's kind of a mistake when you know there are terrorists around, just because, you know, there's a good motive for them wanting the spotlight and the attention of the nation. Ooh. Oh, that's bad. I mean, thinking about it, these guys, they would have proof that he's innocent. You know, he was in the landslide the entire time, but I mean, they're not accepting their testimony. I mean, that puts it beyond all doubt. Like, it's just a kangaroo court. Man. So how is Lelouch going to get out of this, I wonder? I mean, Margrave, he's outside of his Sutherland to a degree, so I feel like that leaves him ripe for hypnotism. Can Lelouch just hypnotize people through his helmet, I wonder? That's... because that would cut off direct eye contact, right? So I guess if he's dealing with ordinary troopers who are wearing helmets, you know, those guys couldn't be hypnotized either. Although, if Lord Jeremiah here, if he's really as in charge as he seems to be, then he really only needs to hypnotize him and let him, you know, give the order to stop everything. Alright. So this is an unplanned stop. Ooh. The personal vehicle of the late Clovis. Yep, there's Callan. So I'm wondering, did they steal the vehicle? Well, actually, no, it seems like they didn't. I mean, if they're in a junkyard, what else would they do there? Yeah, you know, Lelouch, he's really putting up a confident front, saying, like, you know, I just need the two of you for this plan to go off. I mean, he must be rather confident. I mean, frankly, it must be a foolproof plan, really. But I'm just curious what he could possibly do if he's sort of going out front and center here like this. I mean, there's certainly an air of menace about him, the way he's doing this, you know, that would inspire... maybe not terror, but it would certainly captivate. Yeah, I don't know. Like, it seems to be just sort of like going out in the open like this, like that's a good way to get picked off by a sniper. Surely there's got to be more to this plan. Okay, yeah, so obviously he's not going to remove his mask right away. And it seems as though he's operating on the public knowledge that this is in fact a chemical weapon when, you know, Lelouch knows it's not, we the viewers know it's not, but nobody else knows that. I don't think even Jeremiah knows that it's not a chemical weapon. Wow. You know, I guess it was rather effective on his part. I mean, sure, it's basically a bluff, but I guess as with any good bluff, it's something that looks credible and only he knows that he's bluffing. Man, so I guess it's unfortunate that he's not willing to hand him over so readily. Alright. So that's interesting too. You know, he's admitting, truthfully, as it were, that he's behind the murder of Clovis. But I feel like Jeremiah, being the proud guy that he is, he's not just going to hand over Suzaku. So, I mean, it's more about retribution than anything else, appearing to, you know, execute the culprit. Like, if he wanted, or rather, if he was willing to hand over Suzaku, I feel like it would only be in exchange for Zero, which he's not going to do that. Alright, now I think that's definitely a bluff, you know. Ooh. Okay. So this was probably like the actual plan, you know, get close enough to hypnotize Jeremiah. Alright. So the idea is that through hypnotism, he'll hand over Suzaku, you know, willingly. And I guess seeing as how he's the most important person here, he has the authority. Although there's another guy with the title Lord here, so I'm not sure who has seniority. I mean, maybe like the best case scenario here is that they start fighting and like killing each other off. Yeah, okay. I was going to say, like, how are they going to manage to get away now? I guess they would have to sort of, set off the gas. You know, they know full well it's harmless, but nobody else does. Yeah, you know, it's interesting and kind of low-tech, almost, that, like, basically they just sort of jump off the bridge. You know, I mean, what else can you really expect, honestly? How could they hide a bunch of Sutherlands? I mean, we don't even really know how many they have left after they got done with Lancelot. I guess it is nice that the specific order Lelouch gave to Jeremiah, he was intervening on their behalf. I mean, that's probably not going to reflect too well on him once this whole thing starts to blow over. Man, I'm excited to see the fallout from this, because no doubt Suzaku, I mean, he was willing to go through with this whole thing even though it was unfair. So how's he going to feel about being rescued by a terrorist under these circumstances? Alright, that's an interesting angle. It's like, okay, you know how the game is played now, you know this whole thing is rotten to the core, your best bet is to join up with me now. And I guess the problem here is that, you know, the whole thing's just a little too dishonest, you know, involving civilians, feigning poisonous gas. I mean, it makes sense that none of that would sit well with Suzaku. Yeah. I mean, they're still ideologically opposed. Suzaku wants to change Britannia from within. And, you know, he even says it doesn't matter if you get the right result through the wrong methods. Whereas Lelouch believes that the ends justify the means. And you know, honestly, the truth probably lies somewhere in the middle here, because Suzaku, like, he's willing to go to his death, essentially, facing trial for a capital crime, even though everybody knows he's innocent. And at the same time, everybody knows he's not going to get a fair trial. Man, like, Lelouch succeeded, but in the end, he really didn't achieve anything. Man. Ah, poor Nunnally. I mean, she's no doubt not feeling too happy about this. I mean, I guess, well, I take that back. The report's saying he may be acquitted after all this stuff. Oh. Alright, guess the green-haired girl's still alive. You know, I was given to understand that being shot through the head was fatal. Alright, well that's it for this episode. If you've enjoyed it, then by all means, tune in for the next one. See you, Space Cowboy.